Go to the cloud.
Yep, there it is.
All right. Let me just bring up my code.
Mm-hmm.
Okie dokie. We'll do half screen so it's not too ultra wide for the recording. Okay, can you see that?
Yes, I can.
All right. So I'm going to be refreshing my memory a little bit here. So under orders, let's start with the controller. So this is all sort of work in progress code, which is why there's like commented methods in here. But we have two main ones for now. So post order or create order. So look at the payload. So this one is like it's been generated from the open API spec that they sort of proposed from Arrow, but we can change this so long as we're communicating to them that there's a change to the payload schema. Might actually be easier to look at the docs on staging. So let me just bring that up. Just reshare my screen. Okay, so this is in staging so far. We haven't put it in prod yet. It's toggled off with a feature flag, but yeah, post orders, this is the full payload here. So if you look at the schema, that's probably more useful. Maybe not. Let's look at the example then. So the external order ID is the distributor's order ID. So at launch, we're just going to support Arrow. So it'll be like whatever ID they give us for their order. But we probably do need to work out a way to like scope these IDs a little bit. I think in the database table, I'll have to confirm this, but I think when I created it, I said that it had to be unique only when considering the marketplace and the order ID, not just globally unique. Because like if we go and support like AWS afterwards, they might have some ID clash. We just don't know what other systems are using. So we don't need this to be, unique on the table, just unique with, with the composite ID, or composite key of the partner ID or the marketplace ID and the order. But yeah, this comes from the external system, and they'll use that one to fetch the status updates as well. So the ID that goes into this get path is the same ID. And we use a combination of the marketplace and the ID to get the status for that order. The partner is, I want to say the partner is the reseller, but I'm not, we'll have to confirm that. Address and contact should be the same for all of these, the same format. So zip, address line 1, 2, city, country, state. And contact is email, name, and phone. This actually might need to be turned into first and last name, but this is the sort of stuff I think we're going to discover as we work more with the downstream teams, because they're going to be putting this data into Zora. So ultimately the Zora requirements will bubble up to this level as well, things like names and things like that. So there's some stuff here. Actually, I don't even know if this stuff is relevant anymore. Pretty sure I removed these things. We still have is trial. We're not even going to support trials, so I think we might be removing these. But anyway, this is what we have so far. It'll change a little bit. That's the point. And then your order lines is just an array of, essentially it's just going to be an array of SKUs. It probably won't even have like cost and unit price and things like that in it, because they'll come from downstream systems anyway. Yes. Okay, so back to the codes. So yeah, I basically just put theirs into a JSON, or yeah, like a JSON to TypeScript converter.
Yeah, a bit of
So
a
that's
class, yeah.
yeah, but then I converted them. I think the converter uses interfaces, but I converted them all to classes to get the Swagger docs generating properly,
Mhm.
because I don't think
And
it
with
worked
that,
when
we'll
we had
also have the
interfaces.
payload validation working.
Validation, yeah. Yep. Okay, so where am I? Yes, this one. So this is where we're working out what marketplace it is. So based on the principal, the client, API client,
Mhm.
the way we're doing it now, it's pretty dumb. It's just like, what's the username, and then the username is like in this enum basically. So every time we add a new marketplace, we would have to add an additional, system or marketplace to this enum. And so that means that in the database, that name needs to match this enum, and then that's how we work out what the marketplace is, and we set that on the order command.
Are we gonna
in
need
this
to?
controller.
This might be thinking too far ahead, but instead of using an enum and doing a switch case like this, could we just basically say like, hey, it's always going to go to this marketplace ID, right? So could we just do like order command dot marketplace ID is order marketplace dot principal username
The name,
and
the
reverse
username.
get the enum?
Yeah, I mean, we could do that. The only reason I put the enum is to handle the case where like we don't know that this is a marketplace, right? Like if we just said the principal username is the marketplace ID, then anybody could basically hit this endpoint, and so long as they had the scopes. I mean, it's an edge case, right? Like
Right.
hopefully that would never happen, but
Well, that's why we go back to like, we have this defined list of them,
yeah,
like an enum, but instead of going through this entire switch case, we just have it pull from the enum directly, and then we say if there's no marketplace ID, throw this exception.
I'm not sure I understand what you mean then.
So an enum in JavaScript is basically just an object with key and value, and then value
Right.
key, right?
Yeah.
So we can make this enum still and have it go
Yeah.
back and forth with itself. And if somebody gives us a username that's not in this enum, when we say like order marketplace dot username, it will come back with an
I see what you're
undefined.
saying. Yeah.
Right. So then we could just say like, hey, this is undefined, throw an exception.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we can fix that and make it nicer.
It just means that we don't need this switch case. We still need the enum and to update it as we go through, but
yeah,
it's a little less cumbersome
it'll
than a
make the code
switch.
cleaner. Yeah. Yeah, we can change that. That works. Cool.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean
And
to.
then
Just to
that's
see
right.
too many use cases for a switch.
Yeah, I don't
as simple as this,
I don't use enums a lot, and so I'm not super familiar with the pattern that you're talking about. So
I can help with that.
I'll probably get you to implement it. Yeah.
Yeah, no problem.
Cool. And then if they're not in that enum, or if they don't match, if they're not one of the marketplaces, we
throw an exception in.
For 403. Yeah.
Yeah. Heck, we can even check that in a guard earlier and just be like, don't even get into this if it's not in the enum.
Yeah, I mean, that would be pretty clean, right? So we could definitely do that.
And then we don't need the if case in here. We just add a new guard and boom, it's there.
You don't need this at all. You just need this. Yeah.
Yep. Less logic in the
controller. Feel free to make these improvements. Feel free to make these improvements.
Yeah, I'm all about keeping controllers logicless. So if I can do that, I'm going to.
Definitely. Cool. And then we have this autocue, create order command queue, or new autocue. Sorry. So you're familiar with all that. This is the handler for that. So we basically turn this into the it's a very dumb like entity right now. It doesn't have the full order information in it. All it's trying to track is like IDs and statuses. So I do see we need to probably build this out to store the full order payload
Okay.
at some point, just to keep like the idea would be that if we would kind of cache these orders, and if there was any sort of failure sending the order downstream, we could just replay that really easily, which we could do now just using the queue, right? Because it's in the command. All that information's in the command. It's just that it's not in the database as well. But anyway, we can work out the details of like how to do that. And there might be good reason to like have the order information in the database as well, in case we want to look things up or query in some way. So yeah, but anyway, for now, just this order entity. So the index, unique index is on marketplace ID and external ID.
Okay.
And that's the index name, marketplace order ID. So I've made both of them required. Order marketplace is the same enum that we were using before. And
did we want to make that an enum column in the database too, or just have it enforced in TypeScript?
I mean, we could do it in the database. I didn't because I just didn't, but we can.
I mean, that's fair. I just didn't know if we'd want to actually have that enforced at the database level too.
Could be, yeah, it could be a good idea. Yeah. Feel free to make that change as well.
Let me start writing down.
Write down some things, yeah.
Yeah. All right. Logic list controller. And this is the marketplace order. No, just order class.
Order, yeah. We probably should call it marketplace order in case we do want to use order somewhere else later, but
all right.
Okay. I've got this optional internal ID. So once the order gets put into Zora, we will have some sort of ID that comes back. I'm not sure what it'll be now yet, like whether it'll be the subscription itself, like the subscription ID itself, or whether we will store like Zora's order. So we're currently in the process of phasing out or changing APIs for the way that we create subscriptions in Zora, and the new API actually has orders as a like thing. And so there might be an order ID or something that we might want to save here, in which case I think we would save two IDs. We'd probably save the Zora order ID and then also the like resulting subscription ID that this order was attached to. But for now, just got the one, and we'll just talk to the downstream teams to work out what ID we want to store here to start with. But yeah, that's optional until we know that, and we'll add it here afterwards. And it's more just for reference, like if we ever need to look that order up in Zora or provide it to Arrow, we can do that. And then order statuses is obviously one to many. I've got it set to eager true because we most of the time want to load the statuses up to provide it to someone. And I've got this current status, which basically just says sort them by version. They're just like numbered versions.
Okay.
And then it returns the first one, zero.
Okay.
Yeah. And actually this is kind of unnecessary because in the database I also added the sorting, and in the query I ended up sorting it as well. So where did I put it? Did I put it in here? Here it is, yeah. Order by version descending. So I didn't test this, which is why I left the other one there just in case. But it would be unnecessary to sort them again in memory.
Hey, let's sort the sorted sort so that we have.
At least it'll be efficient, though, right? Because it's already sorted. It's like the best case big O notation.
Oh, 0. Whatever it is.
Yeah. O1.
O1.
No, ON. It's ON because you have to check it.
O-N.
Item.
There we go.
Or is it? Wait, is it ON? No, because you have to check every item against every other item. So anyway, it's probably not. It's probably still very inefficient. But anyway, so this one is again unique. Oh, why did I do a different unique here? This would result in the same index, right? Like it would be an index anyway.
Yeah. Versus
But like this is essentially the same as the other one because it's just a unique index as well.
So unique is an alias for index unique true, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. That's composite unique constraint was anyway.
Gotta love the typo.
So maybe we
freedom for that.
Maybe we should switch this one to be like the other one.
Consistency, something, right?
Yeah. Add that to your list. Oh man, reading my own code is just painful.
Isn't it the best?
It's just the bestest. So this one is I did go with a constructor. Both of them have a constructor, but anyway, just does assignments. So this one has the reverse version, many to one on the statuses.
So long as you don't mind, I'm gonna update the constructor too.
Okay, you can do whatever you need to do. You're going to write much better code than I am. Version, I made it a big int. I don't ever think we would get to that, but I was like, whatever. It's required. Auto status variant is like the statuses that we're going to support. So that state machine I sent you, that we made that after I made this, so this needs to be updated to basically mirror that status, that state machine. So you'll have like, instead of error, you'll have potentially, rejected or a number of different rejected states that it could be in. And like, feel free to like refactor this if you feel like there's a better way to reflect this somehow, like whether you want to have like sub statuses or something like that. I'm not really sure. Like if you wanted to have rejected and then substates or rejection reasons. I do have reason here. So if you wanted to do like rejected and then the reason and different statuses for that, I'm not sure, but yeah, have a think about it, how you want to do it. But reason is optional because like complete or provisioned doesn't necessarily have to have a reason. So I just left that empty. Yeah, any questions about that so
far? Nothing so far.
Cool. In a like 100% ideal world, I actually think this should be like event sourced, where everything is just like an event on an aggregate, and to get the current state, you would just like play back the events and get your current state for that aggregate. But I didn't want to go and like implement event sourcing just for this. So I was like, you know what, I'm just going to do a really dumb version and just track the history of the order statuses, right? Because these aren't likely to change, marketplace ID, external ID, internal ID, they're not going to change. It's just the statuses that will change. So no reason to event source this, but there would be like in the future, like adding seats to a subscription. It could be useful to have an idea of like when seats were added or removed or when upgrades were done and things like that. Could be useful, but anyway. What else? So that order, we save it. Then we save the order status, set it to in progress to start with. This would go not into in progress. Would it be in progress? I mean, it's like an in progress substate. So you would have like waiting for visual compliance check. And then at some point it would go into like in progress, waiting for fulfillment, all that stuff that's in that state machine. So that'll change. The only reason that might change from the state machine is if we end up doing visual compliance in the downstream system, because I don't really expect them to call back to us every time they necessarily change the state in their system. So we might only know that it's in progress, and then once it's fulfilled or errored, we would know that at that point. So that state machine may not apply depending on how we end up implementing it. And then we save the order status, and then we return the order ID. And then what else did I do here? So new order processor, this one here. Okay, so this is where we're executing. I just did this like dummy mark order provisioned command, and then I just set like a random interval for that to occur. And this is just to simulate basically like the order going from in progress to completed or provisioned. And this one is just going to look for the order by order ID, and then create a new order status, increment the status version. And by the way, you might want to enforce the versioning like incrementation or something in the database.
Okay.
I didn't set that up. I don't know if you can do that for like a non-primary key though. Like, can you do that if it's like
it's possible.
Index or a repeating key? Yeah, okay.
I believe so.
And then set that to provisioned and save it, obviously. So that will just get deleted once you're or you could just refactor this to actually get. Actually, you could probably keep using this, but instead of triggering it because of a random interval on the queue, you could just plug it into the API. So we will need that extra, like this one here, update order status. This would come from our internal system. And then at that point, you would probably use that command instead.
Is the just out of curiosity, do you know if the if enabled is able to be set on a class instead of all the method handlers?
I tried that and it actually didn't work. So that's why I put it on here. Yeah.
Okay.
The library doesn't look like it supports the class level.
That's unfortunate. I do know.
Create our own. It's pretty simple.
We could. I was gonna say I do know a package for decorating every method of a class with a single decorator.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Decorate all.
Use it.
I might, if you don't let me bring it again. Bring it in.
Yeah. Bring it in, definitely.
I just did something similar for my logger so that I can just, at log or at log all, and now every method in that is logged as a
you should
pre and post.
You as in Trilon should reach out to the person who created this library and just be like, we're going to take control of this now. You're not maintaining it. And make it like an officially supported feature.
I don't think Camille is interested in supporting Unleash, at least himself. The entire idea was like, hey, let's make a framework so that the community can help with this stuff.
True.
So,
yeah. But then you get things like this where people don't do it properly, and
where it's not really upkept, and it's like, well,
we could submit an MR.
Yeah,
we could submit an MR. Yeah.
Anyways.
Yeah. Cool. So then this is the other endpoint to get the status. So they would poll this is the one that I was thinking we could put some rate limiting on.
Okay. We do have a package for that in Nest.
I do know that, and I have looked at it. I just haven't installed it or used it.
I created it.
Oh, you created it? Okay.
Yeah,
does it work? Can it like rate limit scoped by principal? Is that how
you can make it?
Like,
it originally works by IP address, but it's incredibly customizable with its throttler guard. You just have to kind of give it what the constraint is and extend the class, and boom, you're good.
Yeah, we might want to do it by like marketplace in this case.
Okay.
Or by like principal ID. So you could use anything on that principal. It could be the username or the email. It doesn't really matter. The ID. They're all going to be the same. It's all going to be the same.
So instead of
result.
IP address, it's going to be the username or whatever.
Yeah.
Done. That's a super easy thing to add in.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Because they'll have like probably a fleet of servers, and they'll probably come from different IP addresses. So, I don't know what to set that to now. We'll have to talk to them. Just keep it like very high for now, and we'll talk to them and say like, how often are you going to poll us?
Okay.
Just so we can expect, kind of plan for it, I guess.
No more than 5 a second.
Yeah, even less, hopefully.
I mean, that'd be the hope.
Yeah, we can always scale up our Kubernetes cluster, but it would be a shame if we had to do that for a polling status update thing. Mostly, I think it's going to be a database load thing. Like I don't have doubts that the HTTP server, like the Nest server, couldn't handle it. I think it would be more like hitting that PostgreSDB constantly would be
9 times out of 10 the bottleneck's the database.
Yeah. Especially because we're pulling eagerly. We're going to pull eagerly.
Oh,
those
yeah.
Updates.
Yeah, that's going to be careful with that.
We could change it. We could say get the. How can we do it? I don't know if it'd be any quicker, but maybe we could do like a custom query that just says get the latest version with this ID, with this foreign key or something.
We could probably make that, raw SQL and boom, done.
Yeah, and then we can have a parameter that says like get full status history on this, and they can just only call with that parameter if they want to see the full history. Because most of the time they just care about the latest update.
That would actually be. And TypeORM has such horribly optimized queries.
Yeah.
If you ever look at any of them, they're very poorly written out.
Yeah. All right, add it to your list. You've got quite the list going here.
Yep. I mean, it's good. I got things to work on here.
To work on. Exactly.
So that's get ID. Custom query for latest.
Yeah. So this is the command for it. Remember I asked you about whether you thought it was a good idea to set this server to UTC, like the node server to UTC. That was for this. I think it was for this from memory, but yeah. Let me just remember what the frick I'm doing here. So find one or fail on the order, basically external ID. Construct the response from that. Get the current status from the order. Historical statuses. This is the one we could make optional. And then we use this map status to response status. So I think this, because I was getting some funkiness where like it saves properly in the database as a UTC value, but then JavaScript in its infinite wisdom, when it loads it back in, like parses it as a local time, and then it ends up being a different UTC time.
I blame TypeORM for that.
I blame everyone because JavaScript is horrible for dates in the first place. And
true.
I think TypeORM just doesn't try to handle it. It just goes new date, here's the string, and that's it. So
Congrats.
There could be a way to fix it in TypeORM, but I would rather just not have to handle any time zone change.
I mean, I'm with you on that.
Yeah, if we can just always be in UTC, that's perfect in my opinion, because downstream people can convert it themselves if they want.
Yep.
So yeah, that's that one. The actual order response looks like this. So it's got a sub type thing here.
Do you need the or undefined if it's optional?
I don't know.
Don't think that's necessary. Try taking that off just really quickly. See if it still shows up as stringer undefined.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
still shows the same. You
wonderful.
can change that. I'm not going to make
Yep.
a commit for that. You can change it.
I just wanted to make sure that I wasn't just forgetting my TypeScript there.
You can search the entire repo for order undefined and see if you can fix one of those as well.
Question mark, colon, anything or undefined, and just see what shows up.
Yes, exactly.
Oh man, I kind of want to go do that.
Cool. Yeah, so additional thing that I want to point out is that any errors that occur in this at all should go to incidents.
Okay.
And the reason for that is that we need to have that full history of like incidents that occur. So if we do it to Slack, like we lose that history after like 90 days, I think.
Right.
We will want to do some Slack notifications though. So I'll give you a. Did I invite you to our like sandbox? Slack?
Yes.
Yeah, so we can create a channel in there for dev, and you can use that channel ID.
Okay.
To test it all out. But yeah, we want to make sure that those threaded Slack threads are working as well for like retries. So if we like auto retry, you know, put them in the thread if they fail, and then possibly it would even be nice to link the incident in the Slack thread. Actually, we haven't done that before, but
yeah, I was going to say
create the incident first. Yeah, create the incident first, and then do the Slack message and put the incident link in there as well, so people can quickly go there. Because we will, in production, we will have this in our proper GitLab account, and we'll have a bunch of people that monitor that and, you know, make sure that they're being unblocked.
Okay. That's going to require a little bit of a rework of the current setup for the incident service, just because I've got them running parallel. But what we could do is just make sure that, hey, the thread's been created. We've, you know, possibly sent a message in here already, but here's also the incident for the thread.
Yeah, you could definitely post it in the thread. Yeah, like don't refactor everything if it's working nicely.
I'm making sure that it's working nicely today. Apparently something's happening with Karuna's stuff.
Yeah, I've noticed for some of them it's just doesn't seem to do it properly, but we'll iron all that out over time.
Yeah.
I think the more you use it, the more you'll like find these problems as well.
Right.
I don't know if you've been using it much. So
I was told to make it. I made it, and it's like, all right, cool. Yeah. It should be working. It worked for the test.
Yeah. It's hard to know if it doesn't. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I think that's everything that I know of so far. Oh, sorry, I forgot about the auto generator. So I think that's still in an MR. Let me find it. You still see my browser?
No, I can only see your code.
So let's go to the browser. I mean, where is it? Did I merge it? No, here it is, auto generator. Let me just rename this to Disty auto generator. Draft Disty auto generator. Yeah, this is probably a little out of date now with the repo, but have a look through this. So autofocus service, I think, was the one. Yeah, this will be out of date now, this format. But I mean, the payload is not finalized anyway, as you saw. Like, stuff is probably going to be removed. But yeah, I was using Faker for this one, as I said the other day. So that'll need to be fixed. But essentially, so I haven't added all the SKUs there. There's 6 SKUs, I believe, and I can get them for you with all the full details. So we'll want to randomly pick a product, which is what I was trying to do here. Or with this one, sorry, these two. The rest can be like sort of generated, you know, UIDs. Obviously, company names, use the generators for those, and addresses. And then the order, it's only ever going to be one order line per order. So you don't have to like generate a bunch. Use
good
the
to
product SKU that you worked out before. I think term and things like that don't apply because the SKUs are like the SKU will be 3 years ultimate, so the term is kind of like in the SKU already. So you wouldn't necessarily need to add the SKU, add the term separately. But again, like we'll have to confirm like how they want us to pass this down. And I'm hoping we'll find that out relatively soon so we can bring those changes in here and also communicate it back up to Arrow as well. So same with billing cycle. They're either 1, 2, or 3 years in the SKU. So you don't need to put that in here. It'll be part of the SKU. And auto renew is always going to, actually I might need to confirm whether it's going to be false or true, but anyway, you get the idea. We'll keep iterating on this as we get more information. But the benefit I think is being able to generate these and pump them through. So I did have here like an API endpoint where, wait, what's this for? Yeah, so but what I did with this one was like you can call this endpoint to get a bunch of fake orders. So you can say like how many orders you want. So you say like, give me 1 fake order. It'll give you a fake order, and then you would manually go and pump it in. But we could also just have like a repeating bull queue job that just generates these orders as well, right? Like just with a command or something. That's an option, and just call like literally call the API itself. So like almost like end-to-end testing it with itself, So I'll let you work out how you want to do all that. But
with these fake orders, is this just what we're going to be sending into the other API?
So I set them up to be like the same format as if we were like sending them into our API.
Right.
But I think like you would need to kind of at least get them into our order service. That would be like, because you want to get the order into the database with the status.
Right. That's what I was
send
kind
it
of
down to
here.
So yeah, that's what we want to test is like the full flow of that status updating and everything. Yes. And that like status update endpoint, which is commented out right now, that would be a different scope actually. It wouldn't be, the scope wouldn't be, the API scope wouldn't be from the distributor, it would be from our like internal system. So we would only want our internal systems to be able to update that status, order status. So we'll need to probably refactor that a little bit, maybe add an additional scope to it, or just change the way the scope is defined on that orders controller. So like for the ones that are external to Arrow or to the distributors, that would be one scope, and then the ones that are internal would be a different scope. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, but yeah, I haven't built it. I haven't put the payload there, so you'll have to work that out as well. Like, is it just the order ID and a string, or is there more information they need to send us? We'll have to work that out with the team.
Right.
And then once we build that, we can send them the Swagger docs so they can build their side of it. So we will be setting up a tech sync for yourself and me and everyone else involved, all the tech people, to have like an initial chat about this stuff. And then we can have some follow-up ones or just communicate through GitLab issues from then on. So just keep an eye out for any of that stuff, because we'll want to keep on top of it. That team is like, as soon as they get resources, it'll be like go time. So we'll need to be like prepared for that.
Okay.
So how are you feeling about all that? Is that making sense?
Yeah, it's making sense. It's a good list to get going on.
Yeah. Sorry about all my shit code.
Sometimes it's all about learning, right?
Yes. I'm more of a like execute quickly and never look back type person. So
That's fair.
I'm appreciative of you and Dom because you're much more like detailed.
I go back and maintain my own, open source libraries all the time. So it's like I need to write good stuff because otherwise I'm going to look at this and go, what was I doing?
Yeah.
Why did I
That's
write
why
it
we
that
have
way?
you. You can keep the code quality high and teach us new things and make sure we're doing the right things. So yeah. Cool. All right. Let me know. I mean, I'll let you know when we have the meeting. I think, well, Courtney will invite you, but if we need to sync up before that, just to get alignment on anything, I'll let you know. And
okay.
If you have any questions, just reach out.
Yeah, we'll do. I think I'll be looking into log stuff at the moment, and then get on to at least updating a couple of things in the current code.
Yeah. All right.
The code that you were showing, is that on a branch on GitLab at the moment, or is it just all local?
The code, most of the code is already in master. It just
perfect.
is feature toggled.
Perfect.
And then that auto generator is just in the MR that I had up. It's called Disty
order generator.
Auto generator. Yeah.
Cool.
I don't think there's any other code anywhere else. So yeah. Okay.
Perfect.
There's no credentials or anything yet for any other systems. So once they build that API, we'll have that for them. For you. So
yeah.
I don't think there's anything else out there that you need to know, but if I think of anything, I'll ping you on Slack.
Sounds good.